All right, thank God for fantasy football season. I'm Buster Brown, and the show, it's called Redemption Rehab. And if you tuned in today, it's because you want to do one thing, and that's start winning money in fantasy football. Today, we're talking about my top picks in daily fantasy football that'll help you get the job done. So let's head over to the chalkboard
and check out the facts.
All right, here we are back talking daily fantasy football in week 7 of the NFL. Hopefully you've won some money. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about players you should be looking at for week 7. We're going to be talking quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defenses. We're going to check out the rankings to help you make some informed decisions this week in fantasy football. Okay, here we are on a great website called mybookie.ag. Here you can see the lines in the games. If you look to the right side of your screen over here, you can see that in the Arizona-New York Giants game, that the over-under is either 49 over and 49 under. That's important in daily fantasy sports to know the total points that are possibly going to be scored. This is a game that I might want to invest in a player in, so knowing how many points might be scored is important. So as you can see, this game here is almost 50, so there's a high chance I'm going to target players in this game. Let's show you some other scores of some other games that might help you decide later on who you should be picking in your daily fantasy football on FanDuel. Like the over-under in the Houston Texans Indianapolis Colts game is 47.5. The over-under in the Miami Dolphins Buffalo Bills game isn't very high, it's only 40. The Minnesota Vikings Detroit Lions is the over-under is 45. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals, the over-under is 43, as you can see here. And the big winner of the week is the Los Angeles Rams and the Atlanta Falcons. The over-under is 54. You should be taking a lot of players in games like this where the over-under is 54, meaning there should be about 54 points or more scored in this game. The next game below it isn't very high, San Francisco and Washington. I'll tell you right now, I love San Francisco as my defense. If I can't afford Buffalo, then I'm probably going to put in San Francisco because I think that this will be a very low-scoring game, and I think San Francisco is going to wallop the Washington Redskins. Next game is the Los Angeles Chargers, the Tennessee Titans. Over-under is 40. Next game is Baltimore against Seattle. In Seattle, the over-under is 50. We should be targeting players in this game because there's going to be a lot of points scored. And the low score of the week is the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears. Only supposed to be 38 points scored in this game. Last two games we're going to look at are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. You can see the over-under is 49.5. That's pretty good. So we're going to be targeting players in this game if we can find a price that we like. And the last game of the week is on Monday night, where the over-under in the New England-New York Jets game is only 42.5. So let's head over to RT Sports and check out the rankings that'll give us an idea of who we might be targeting on FanDuel for Week 7 of the NFL season. Okay, here we are on rtsports.com, and we're checking out their rankings for the position players that we're going to choose in FanDuel. We're going to start out with quarterbacks. We usually try to look at the top 10 and try to get one of these quarterbacks right here if we can possibly do it. So let's head over to FanDuel and check out who we might take at quarterback for Week 7 of the NFL season. Okay, here we are on FanDuel looking at the quarterbacks we like for Week 7 of the NFL season. If you like any of these quarterbacks in the top 5, I don't blame you for going after them. It's just they're very expensive. However, the one that I really like, and he didn't have a very good week last week at home, was Jared Goff. I mean, why would you go after a guy that didn't even get a point, maybe 2 points in most leagues? Well, he is playing in Atlanta who's probably the worst ranked opponent against quarterbacks, and it says here that they're right there at the bottom. And his salary is $7,800, so I can definitely suggest you might want to consider Jared Goff. Let's take a look at some other quarterbacks that I like even more than Jared Goff. If you go down the list just a little bit, you'll see that Josh Allen and Kyler Murray are both ranked in their top 10. Buffalo is playing Miami at 1 o'clock on Sunday. He's going up against the worst ranked defense. So I do like Josh Allen a lot, and I think between Jared Goff, Josh Allen, and my last one I like is Kyler Murray. He's going up Sunday at 1 o'clock against the New York Giants, and the Giants are ranked 28th against quarterbacks, and he's $7,700. So those are the three quarterbacks that I'm targeting in FanDuel. If you want, you could spend a lot more money and get a better quarterback. Any of these top guys are going to be good, but they're very expensive. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, or Russell Wilson. If you take one of these top quarterbacks, you're going to find that you don't have the money to spend on the rest of your lineup later on. So let's take a look at some sleeper quarterbacks in case you run into a salary cap issue on FanDuel. Okay, let's take a look at a sleeper quarterback that we mentioned last week who kind of let us down, didn't have a very good week, but I expect him to have a bounce back week against Cincinnati in week 7. And that is right here at Gardner Minshew. He plays in Cincinnati at 1 o'clock on Sunday. He's going up against the 29th ranked defense against quarterbacks. And he is only $6,900, so you do save a lot of money by going with him. The over-under is the only problem in that game. It's 43.5, so I do expect some scoring. If you do go with Gardner Minshew, you got to take the risk like we did last week, and he only got us 10 points, so good luck with that. Let's go check out some running backs that I like on FanDuel and RT Sports in week 7 of the NFL season that might help you win some money. Okay, here we are back on RT Sports. We're looking at running backs and who we should possibly take for our FanDuel in week 7. As you can see here, the number 1 player is Dalvin Cook. And we always like the top 10 here down to Phillip Lindsay. There are some players that I do like after that a lot, but let's check out the top 10 real quick. I do like Dalvin Cook, but he's the most expensive, one of the most expensive running backs on FanDuel. He's got a great matchup. Saquon Barkley, I do like him too, but he's got an injury history that it may be a problem. Any of these guys that you see, Fournette, David Johnson, I like a lot. And when you cut down later in here, we'll go over to FanDuel and check it out. But I'm big on Todd Gurley this week. I think he comes back because Atlanta's not ranked well against running backs that catch the ball out of the backfield. So let's head back over to FanDuel and check out their salaries. Okay, like I said, you can see right here, Saquon Barkley is a big deal. I mean, he's going up against the 10th ranked defense in the Cardinals. $8,600 is too much. Can't afford it. I kind of do like Dalvin Cook. He's going up against Detroit. He's averaging 20 points a week, and he is going up against the 30th ranked defense against the running backs in Detroit. Sunday at 1 o'clock. His salary's huge too. If you're going to take him, you're going to need to get about 24 points. He's been sharing time with Alexander Madison lately. I do like him, and I do think he has a good chance, and I am recommending that, yeah, you should consider taking Dalvin Cook, even though his price tag is high. Another guy I really like this week is Leonard Fournette. Not a big fan of him, but he does have a great matchup this Sunday at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. He's going up against the 31st ranked opponent, and his salary is $7,900, so you do save some money there. Let's head down the list and check out some other running backs that I think will do well in week 7. Okay, one of the other running backs I think you should be considering is David Johnson right here. He's playing against the New York Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock. The opponent rank is 23rd, and he's $7,400. Now you got to remember, David Johnson catches a lot of passes out of the backfield, but on FanDuel, they don't give you credit for that. So in other formats, they give you half a point or maybe a point per reception, but not in FanDuel. But I do like David Johnson. I do think he gets in the end zone. He does have to get us about 21 points. The over-under in this game is 49 points, so it does meet that criteria. So I am looking at David Johnson. He is a top 10 on RT Sports. Let's take a look. As you can see, all those guys I mentioned earlier there, and a couple other guys I like. I do like Josh Jacobs down here. He plays for Oakland against Green Bay Sunday at 1. He's going up against the 29th ranked opponent. It is a crowded backfield in Oakland. He is $6,700, so I need about 18, 19 points. It's just that crowded backfield. I'm leaning towards somebody else who's not in the top 10, and that's Todd Gurley right here. As you can see right here, he had a quadricep injury last week. He didn't play, but I'm hearing he's going to play this week against Atlanta Sunday at 1 o'clock. Atlanta's the 16th best defense against running backs, and his price tag is $7,100, so I need about 21 points out of Todd Gurley. But like I said earlier, the over-under in this game is 54 points, so I'm trying to get as many players in this game as I can and keep it under the salary cap. And I think Todd Gurley, if he plays, is a no-brainer, because I know for a fact that Atlanta struggles against running backs that catch the ball out of the backfield, and Todd Gurley is going to be one of those guys that should be set up for a huge week in week 7 after a week off. Let me give you a sleeper pick that might help you. Okay, my sleeper picks in this week go to a low-scoring game, so it doesn't meet that criteria. It's in Buffalo. You've got the 2 running backs, Frank Gore here, Devin Singletary. I expect Devin Singletary to be back this week. They both play for the Buffalo Bills against Miami at 1 o'clock on Sunday. They're going up against the worst ranked defense against the run, so I am expecting them to give up a lot of points to one or maybe both of these guys. So if you do need somebody at $6,000 or $5,800 down here at Devin Singletary, who I would make sure is playing on Sunday, I think one of these guys is going to have a big game. I also think the quarterback Josh Allen's going to rush for a bunch of yards. Let's go take a look at some wide receivers that can help you in week 7 of the NFL season on FanDuel. Okay, here we are back on rtsports.com checking out the rankings for their wide receivers right here. As you can see, it starts with Julio Jones. It comes down here, and we always try to get in the top 10. The games that aren't included in this tournament are the Kansas City-Denver game on Thursday night. Players that I like in this, I'm trying to get players in my top 10, but I'm really having trouble finding players that can fit into my salary cap. So there are some players that I do like later, like, basically T.Y. Hilton and some other players that are further down this list that didn't even make their top 20. And it's basically a salary cap situation on FanDuel. So as you can see, this is our top 10. And let's head over to FanDuel to see what kind of salary these players right here are looking at. Okay, here we are on FanDuel checking out the salary situation for wide receivers in week 7. You can't go wrong with any of these top 3 wide receivers. Problem is the money. It's too much money, and I don't think they're going to score as many points as I need to make the money worthwhile to take them. I need at least 24 or 5 points out of these 3. But I do like down here Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp had a tough game last week, as all the Rams did. I expect them to bounce back Sunday at 1 o'clock against Atlanta, who's the 30th ranked opponent against wide receivers. His salary is $7,800, so I am going to need about 21 to 25 points out of him. He's averaging only 16, but I got to tell you, that's such a juicy matchup. I really like it a lot. If I can get him in there, I will, but I'm not sure because of his price. Another guy I like is T.Y. Hilton. He plays against Houston on Sunday at 1 o'clock. He's going up against the 27th ranked defense, and his salary is just as much as Cooper Kupp's at $7,600. I like T.Y. Hilton because he has really burned Houston the last few years. He's put up some big games against them, and I see no reason why he can't after having a week off to recover from his injuries. Let me give you some other wide receivers I like in week 7 of the NFL season on FanDuel. Okay, another wide receiver I like on FanDuel this week is Julian Edelman for the New England Patriots. He plays the Jets at 8:15 on Monday night. He's going up against the 20th ranked opponent. And the reason I liked him so much is he's only $6,600. That's pretty cheap for him. And he regularly torches the Jets. I went back and looked, and he gets 15 to 18 points every time he plays them. The over-under's not very high. It's only 42. But who else New England going to throw the ball to with the injuries they got? So I think Julian Edelman at the price point is somebody we should be looking at. As you can see right here, he's listed at number 6 on our top 10 list over on RT Sports. So that's another reason to really like him. And the last one on this list right here that I like is Michael Gallup down here at the bottom for Dallas right here. He plays Philadelphia at 8:20 on Sunday night. Philadelphia is one of the worst ranked pass defenses. As you can see, they're number 32. They are getting some cornerbacks back. They have been missing some starters at that position all year, and they do get them back this week, so that should be interesting. And his salary is only $6,300. And when you throw in the fact that the over-under in that game is 49.5, I really think that at the price point, Michael Gallup is going to get us some points and be worth the pick. He needs to get us about 18 points, and I think he finds the end zone against Philadelphia. Let me give you some sleeper guys that might help you in week 7 of the NFL season. Okay, one of the wide receivers is coming back from injury this week, has a juicy matchup, and that's Christian Kirk, who should be available on Sunday. Make sure you check. Arizona plays the Giants at 1 o'clock. He's going up against a 29th ranked Giants secondary against wide receivers. It's not very good. And his price point is the reason I like him so much. He's not ranked on RT Sports in the top 20, but for $5,600 going up against a terrible defense, I think he's worth a sleeper pick this week. Another wide receiver you can't go wrong with is always Tyler Boyd. He plays Jacksonville Sunday at 1 o'clock. He's going up against the 19th ranked opponent against wide receivers, and his salary is $5,600. So I do like that. And don't be surprised if Larry Fitzgerald has another great game, and he's going up against the 29th ranked defense, and his price point is only $5,600. That means we only need 15, 16 points out of him to make this pick worthwhile. Let's go take a look at some tight ends that are going to help us in week 7 on FanDuel. Okay, here we are back on RT Sports looking at some tight ends and their rankings. I don't see how you can go wrong with any of these guys in the top 7. All these guys look like they're going to have a good week. We just have to see if we can fit any of them in our lineups and see what the ranking is on FanDuel. But I'm high on the top 7. After that, not so much. So let's go over to FanDuel and take a look and see where these 7 guys are and how much money they'd cost us to play in week 7 of the NFL season. Here we are, the number 1 guy is George Kittle. He's going up against the 18th ranked opponent, 7,100. He plays Washington. San Francisco likes to throw the ball to this guy, so he'd be a good pick, and his price point's not too bad. If you can get Evan Ingram, he's good. He's going up against the 32nd ranked defense against tight ends. He plays Arizona, who always gives up a lot of points to tight ends, and that's Sunday at 1. His price point is $6,800. Question is, right here, is he going to play? And here he is going to play, so make sure you check the listings to see if he's inactive or active. You got to love Mark Andrews. He's banged up, but he's not on the injury report. Does have a shoulder-foot thing. He plays Seattle at 425. Seattle's the 29th ranked opponent against tight ends, and he's got a good price point too, of $6,700. I think he'll find the end zone. You gotta love Austin Hooper. If we go back and look at RT Sports for tight ends, he's number 1. Gotta love that. So they're ranking him as the best tight end. He plays against the Rams, 19th ranked opponent against tight ends, and he's only $6,600. So we've had him in our lineup last week. We've got to get him in there again. He's having a breakout year, so there's no reason not to have him in our lineup. And the other guy that I want to talk about, Hunter Henry, is ranked he's ranked the number 7th tight end on RT Sports. He plays against a tough Tennessee defense. They're only the 24th ranked defense against tight ends, and his price point is the cheapest of all of them. I like him a lot, and if I need to save some money, I'm definitely going with Hunter Henry, who had like 20 some points, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards last week, and he's only 5,700. So those are the tight ends that I think we should be looking at in week 7 of the NFL season on FanDuel. When we come back, we're going to look at defenses. Okay, here you have some of the defensive rankings on RT Sports. You got New England as number 1, Buffalo, who I really like. If I can't afford Buffalo, I'm probably going to try to do San Francisco. And if I can't afford San Francisco, teams like Chicago will do well. Jacksonville will do well. But I'm not sure about these other teams down here. Probably going to limit it to any of these top 6 teams. Probably not going to do Baltimore. Probably won't do New England, although New England has been one of my favorite defenses to play all year. But it's between one of those defenses. So let's go over and see who we can fit into our lineup on FanDuel. As you can see, Buffalo, who I like the most, is 5,500. The reason they're so expensive is because they're going up against Miami Sunday at 1 o'clock. And Miami's the 32nd ranked opponent against defenses. So you want to try to get Buffalo in there. The over-under in this game is really low. It's only 40. So Buffalo makes all this sense, and that's who I'm going to try to get in if I can. Then my next team that I really like is right here, is San Francisco playing Washington at 1 o'clock. Washington is the 26th ranked opponent against defenses, and they're only $5,000, so I do like them a lot. And the last one I like a lot is down here, is the Chicago Bears. They're coming back from a bye week in London. They didn't play well against the Raiders. They're going to take out their frustrations Sunday at 4 o'clock on the New Orleans Saints. Teddy Bridgewater's gonna get a handful of Mr. Mac. New Orleans is the 7th opponent ranked against defenses, so I don't like that. But I do like the salary at 4,500. So those are probably the 3 defenses I would be looking at coming this Sunday on FanDuel. Let's take a look to see how we're going to get all these guys that I like and that RT Sports ranked on FanDuel in our lineup when we come back. Okay, this is the lineup I put together for one of my teams for Sunday, week 7 of the NFL season. I told you I wanted a top 10 quarterback. I got one. I think he's going to have a great day. $7,700 going up against the 32nd ranked opponent against quarterbacks. RT Sports had him ranked in the top 10. I got Dalvin Cook in here, great running back, most expensive running back, going up against the tough Detroit defense. However, the 30th against running back right here, as you can see, 30th ranked opponent against running backs. Todd Gurley isn't in our top 10. He is actually number 15 on RT Sports, but I really think he's going to have a big day. He is questionable, so I may have to switch him out on Sunday before that game starts at 1 o'clock. But I do like him a lot. I think he's going to score some points. I got a top 10 wide receiver on Monday night in Julian Edelman going up against the 20th ranked Jets defense. I got in Michael Gallup, who's not in the top 10. However, he's going up against a 32nd ranked Philadelphia defense. I got Christian Kirk in there. He was injured for the last couple weeks. He's supposed to come back this week, so I will switch him out probably with Larry Fitzgerald like I did last week. And they're about the same price, but they're going up against the 29th ranked defense in New York Giants. I don't see how you can go wrong without RT Sports has this guy ranked as their number 1, Austin Hooper as their number 1 tight end. So I'm definitely going with him going up against the 19th ranked Los Angeles Rams defense. I wasn't able to get Buffalo in there, but I did get in my second choice, which was San Francisco at 5,000 going against Washington. And now we're left with $6,900. You could $6,800. You can see there's what I'm left with, $6,800. Can't spend $69 because it's in red, so I can go with anybody at $6,800. And my first choice is any of these 3: Evan Ingram, Josh Jacobs, or Mark Andrews. I'm going to go with Evan Ingram right now, but if I find out he's not playing, I'm either going to go with Josh Jacobs or Mark Andrews. No problem. I like those guys just as much. All 3 of these guys are top 5, top 10. according to RT Sports, so I can't go wrong. So right now I'm going to put in Evan Ingram because he's supposed to play, and the over-under in the game is 49.5, and I like that. So I'm going to put him in there and go with this as one of my lineups. Let me give you another lineup that might help you in week 7 on FanDuel. Okay, hey, I switched some things up here. Here's another lineup that you may like in case you didn't like that one. I switched out my quarterback. I've got Kyler Murray in there going up against the 28th ranked defense of the New York Giants. I took out Josh Allen. I also took out my running back, Dalvin Cook. I put in Leonard Fournette. He's going up against the 31st ranked defense. I saved some money, which allowed me to upgrade elsewhere. And I kept everything else pretty much the same. Todd Gurley, Julian Edelman, Michael Gallup, Christian Kirk. I switched tight ends. I thought I'd give George Kittle a try. And I kept my defense the same, which was San Francisco. So here we are. I've got $6,700 to spend. I can use any one of these guys. Once again, I do like Josh Jacobs. I do like Mark Andrews, but I'm going to go with this guy who's the number 1 ranked tight end, Austin Hooper. And I can always change this out on Sunday, change my flex, maybe go with one of these other guys, depending upon what I see. I got to make sure Todd Gurley and Christian Kirk are playing, and I can easily switch those guys out. So this is my second lineup. If you want to, I'll show you one more lineup that goes weak at quarterback and maybe some things that you can do there. Okay, here we went really cheap at quarterback. I told you I liked him last week. I kind of he didn't do well, but I like him this week against Cincinnati, and that's Gardner Minshew. He's going up for $6,900. He's going up against Cincinnati at 1 o'clock. On Sunday, Cincinnati's the 29th ranked opponent against quarterbacks. I kept Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, Julian Edelman, Michael Gallup, and I upgraded from Christian Kirk, who's questionable. Because I went down in quarterback, I was able to go all the way up to Cooper Kupp from the Los Angeles Rams, going up against the 30th ranked defense in the Atlanta Falcons. So that was a good pick. Okay, so I got all these players in here, and that left me with $5,800. As you can see right here, I have 58, not 59. And if you look at some of these players, I haven't mentioned any of them along the way. And the only one I could even consider taking right now, I do like Devin Singletary right here at 5,800, but he hasn't played in a while. I do like him a lot. But once again, the guy that I really like, if I can get either Hunter Henry in there or Christian Kirk, those are the two I'm really looking at. So let's do this one with Hunter Henry for $5,700. And this is a lineup I'm considering playing on Sunday. Well, that's it for week 7 on FanDuel. I'd like to thank FanDuel and RT Sports and MyBookie for helping us get through this segment. We'll see you next week. I'm Buster Brown. The show's Redemption Rehab. Good luck.